Hey guys, welcome to Reddit Brew. You know the drill, we're back at it again with the Reddit stories. So let's jump into it, shall we? How dare my family care that I might have cancer? My aunt has fake ailments that need all of our attention. This is an old story, but it always really stuck out to me. When I was 18, I got really sick. I had to quit school and move home. From LA back to Virginia because there were some days that I couldn't even get up to get water and needed help. While many other days were fine, after I got home, things started going downhill pretty quickly. After a slew of doctors, tests, hospitals, scans, etc., we were told by the oncologist that it was likely lymphoma. There were a lot more tests after that, mainly to try and rule out everything else. It was a very scary time. Just to be clear, I thankfully did not end up having cancer, but we went months thinking that that's what it was, getting test after test, ruling out many other possibilities. It was weird rooting for a positive result on these other tests, because between that and cancer was the worst option. I ended up getting surgery to remove a lymph node from my neck for a biopsy. For the story, my family had different ways of dealing with the news. Some acted like I was on my deathbed, and others pretended like it wasn't happening, but they were all supportive. Well, mostly. I have two aunts on my mom's side. One lives in Florida, runs her own law firm, and has many personal commitments. She offered to drop all of that, buy a plane ticket, and fly to Virginia just to hang out if I wanted. I would never ask her to, but the offer meant so much to me. She constantly asked for updates from my mom, asked how I was doing, and just overall caring. My other aunt lived 5 minutes from me. In my lifetime, she has never had a job, and she has literally nothing going on in her life. She was always the selfish, crazy narcissist we all put up with. I cannot express in words just how awful and crazy she is. Almost everything she says is a lie. Some she knows are lies, and some she's deluded herself into thinking are actually true. For instance, she claims she graduated magna cum laude from college when she never even finished her first year. I always warned my friends before meeting her, and they always thought, we all have one of those family members. It's fine. Then they meet her and realize my warning wasn't enough. From the second you see her to the second you finally make up an excuse to get her to leave, she's whining about being in pain, a new injury, a crazy illness, etc. Her ailments are all in her head and completely self-diagnosed. She never lets anyone get a word in, and if someone tries, she starts yelling to drown them out. She has never ended a meeting or a phone call. The other person has to, or it will go on forever with her talking about herself. Then Rosh Hashanah comes around. We always invite her for every high holiday dinner. I had been homesick for weeks at this point. She never once reached out to me, never asked my mom how I was doing, or how my mom was doing dealing with it in any conversation they had. I thought she just didn't care, but I was wrong. She very much cared about the situation. She was pissed. She came in death glaring at me. She was clearly angry from the moment she walked in. At first, I didn't understand why, and I didn't initially think it was directed at me. Before dinner started, my mom mentioned something about my upcoming doctor's appointment, and before she could finish, my aunt interrupts with, "Speaking of doctor's appointments," she then went on listing doctors she sees for her various issues. That went on all dinner. Her doctor apparently said her spine was more injured than anyone else he's ever seen in his life. Lie. She says she can barely walk because of the problems in her legs. A lie. She says she's in agony in every part of her body, each being a completely different issue. Lie. And she claimed she has a slew of diseases. Lie. From how my aunt describes herself, she should be in a wheelchair, or on life support, or bedridden. It was all about her and her medical issues. She reiterated that she had to see way more doctors than me, she had to have way more more tests than me, and they were so much worse. She hated the idea of the attention I was getting because of my cancer scare. My mother mentioned one thing about it the whole night, and I never talked about it. I didn't want to. The attention was a couple of my relatives mentioning it to her on a phone call a couple times because they were concerned for me. But because no one was asking about her disease of the month, no one was keeping tabs on her next doctor's appointment, she couldn't stand it. The icing on the cake was when she looked at me and told me, "You know, you're so lucky you don't have to live like I do, in so much pain and being so sick." I didn't even know how to respond to that. She could look me in the eye and tell me that I was lucky because she had it so much worse. I only had to worry about cancer. It would have been enough if she said that and her ailments were real, but the fact that she was making them up for attention and still had the gall to say that was even worse. When we got the biopsy results back, she didn't ask what they were. It was later relayed to me that when my mom told her, my aunt responded with, "I know, she was never really sick, and you were all crazy to get so worried and worked up about it. I'm the one with the real issues, so I would know." Real issues? I have never once seen this woman with a prescription, be in the hospital, have a surgery, have any sort of aid, or look to be in any sort of physical pain ever. She's just always at the doctor's office and likely gets sent home with instructions to gargle with salt water or stretch more so that her doctor can be rid of her for a week or two. Her doctor deserves a damn raise. Great googly moogly. Firstly, I know you're probably all curious and are concerned for OP and her well-being, so I searched the comments and found that she has recovered and claims that to this day, she still doesn't know what was wrong with her. Here's the comment. "What actually ended up being wrong when it wasn't actually cancer? Glad you're okay. I don't know. We were told the next step would be seeing an infectious disease doctor to see if I picked up some weird random something from the various villages/disaster sites I worked at overseas. I did later get dengue fever, E. coli, and dysentery on various trips. Before looking into the infectious disease doctor, which would have been far away and need to really look for one, I started getting better. I was so tired of doctors and tests and all that. I just wanted it to be over. I took getting better as a win, and it's never come back. I'm glad OP recovered. That is so scary to go through something like that and still not know what it was. Now, as for the story, people like OP's aunt drive me crazy. To pretend or fabricate trauma or an illness just for attention is flabbergasting. I don't understand why someone would want to be sick, because someone who is actually sick would kill to not be sick, and they sure as hell don't brag about it. And when someone constantly needs to one-up someone else's life experiences with their own that are quote unquote so much worse, it drives me up the wall. You cannot one-up pain. You can, however, compare and relate to someone in a concerning manner by saying things like, "Wow, I am so sorry that you're going through this. I too went through something like this, and maybe me talking about my experience can help you. Here's what I've learned from my similar experience," etc., etc. But to always only talk about yourself or say things like, "You're so lucky you don't have to go through what I am," or "Try going through what I've gone through," or "Yours isn't as bad as mine, so get over it," is not okay. Invalidation is not okay. The only time it's okay to invalidate someone is if they are proven to be a liar or fabricator, in my opinion. But that is my rant for the day. Just be kind, be open-minded, and help each other grow and learn, instead of discrediting and destroying one another. Okay, I'll stop preaching now. Please leave a like and subscribe if you want. I truly appreciate when you do, and I will see you in the next Reddit story. Bye!